Hi, thank you so much for joining us. I'm Krista Gorman. This is Loverly TV and Behind the Loverly Lens, where I interview industry professionals and past clients so that if you're planning a wedding, you can get some perspective on your wedding day and what to expect, especially right now during COVID. I find this is really helpful for my clients, and I hope it's helpful for you too. I am so excited and honored and happy to have my new very best friend, Paige Honor.
Hi.
Hi. We met, we've kind of known each other on and off throughout the years. I think we've known of each other, but like we're really connecting right now. So it's pretty awesome. We actually recorded this video yesterday and technology totally failed me and we lost it. So Paige has been amazing and has come back to interview with me again. But I feel like it was meant to be because we've discovered some new things that we can dive into. So yeah, let me introduce Paige a little bit. She is a hair and makeup artist with Honor Beauty. That is her company, but she is so much more beyond hair and makeup. She has her hands in all kinds of different pockets. She is a goddess of spirituality, an incredible advocate for self-love and self-care, which she promotes through her human design services. Which I'm so excited for you guys to hear about. And she's a warm-hearted, passionate powerhouse like myself who is living her most authentic life. I'm so excited to have you on my show, Paige.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Loverly Lens.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to do this again. Round two, bigger and better.
Right? Yeah.
So yeah, thank you.
Title it. That's awesome. So why don't we dive into the beauty stuff first? Because we do have a lot to tackle today.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how long have you been doing weddings, hair and makeup? What got you into it? What is your why behind it? Why do you love it? Give me the deets.
Okay, cool.
Your company too, like all the things.
Okay, awesome. So I was living in Toronto and I went to special effects school for hair and makeup. So that was about 15 years ago. And the whole master plan was that I wanted to work on movie and television sets doing prosthetics, special effects, all that kind of stuff. So when I enrolled in school, you had to enroll in the beauty part, obviously, first, so that you know the anatomy of the face and all that stuff. And I just fell in love with it. So I kind of shifted a little bit, especially after having my son. I realized that I couldn't stay on movie sets for long periods of time as a new single mom with a newborn. So I decided to pack everything up and move back to Niagara. And then I started my first mobile hair and makeup company with one of my girlfriends. And then from there, I decided that I wanted to branch off and focus more on cruelty-free beauty, vegan clients. So I started Honor Beauty in 2014.
That's awesome. And that is Honor actually your last name?
It's my middle name. Yeah.
Middle name. Oh, I love that.
Thank you.
It's such a befitting name for you and like your company and everything that you represent. So,
Thank you. Yeah. Growing up, I didn't like it at all because all of my friends had, normal middle names like Ashley or Marie. And then, I'm Honor and I'm like, that's not even a real name, but it's serving its purpose now. So
pretty. No, I love it.
Thanks.
Okay. So understanding that for hair and makeup, it's been especially hard for you guys, right? Like in 2020, we got hit with the pandemic. Still have a pandemic going on, but how was that experience for you? And, how do you see things moving forward this year?
So it was really difficult. Looking back, it's kind of made me reassess myself and the way that I go about running a business. I have a team of girls who freelance for me. We were up to about 20 freelancers and we were doing upwards of, 150 to 200 weddings. But it's kind of made me take a step back and realize that I think I want to have a more intimate team of girls that I can give more work to and do maybe less weddings and just focus on all the other parts of my career that I want to grow also. So it has been difficult, but it's been kind of like a blessing in disguise. And it's given me a lot of time to focus on the things within my business aside from actually just going and doing the hair and the makeup.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I think that it's really awesome that you have like those other passions and how you can kind of marry them all in together as well and being the person behind the brand, that you instill such like I don't know, like love and compassion and support for other people, no matter what their size, their age, their race, their look, you make everyone feel welcome and warm. So I think that's great that you're going to be kind of spreading yourself into,
Thank you.
developing those other projects, because I think that'll fuel your soul too.
Yeah, thank you. And I think too, like when I was first starting out as a makeup artist, I just wanted to be successful. I wanted to do as many weddings as possible, and I wanted to get my name out there, which are all valid and they served me well. But
And you did
now I
all
want.
those things. Like
Thank you.
you're a very well-known hair and makeup
Thank you.
artist. Like
Thank
I
you.
think the fact that you're going to be like going to less weddings is going to be very upsetting for some people because
We'll
you're,
see how it goes. I do have a hard time saying no, especially when I have the availability, but I want to focus more on creating an even better experience for a smaller number of clients, and then also that will open up doors to allow me to focus on my boudoir and human design and all that stuff too.
yeah, I think that's really cool. And something that a lot of people I think are taking from COVID and
Yeah.
2020, and just being more careful in their time, and what they give their time to. So I think that's smart.
Thank you.
But with 2020 happening and COVID, I mean, it's really hard for you to predict at this point, like what that's going to look like for couples that are watching right now. What were some of the restrictions you saw in 2020? Do you have, an idea of like what we're going to be up against for 2021? If we're in like prime wedding season and it's, the numbers are down, we're in like, say, the green zone or the orange zone. Maybe you can also like, explain to people what they can expect in each color zone.
Yeah, for sure. So it was a little bit tricky to navigate because there were some loopholes with last season. So, as a hair and makeup artist providing services, as soon as we got into, I believe it was the orange zone, we were no longer able to do a full face of makeup. So, that left our clients with a dilemma because weddings could still proceed, they could still get their hair done, but then they had to go through without having their makeup professionally done. And a lot of my clients don't wear makeup and they have no idea what to even do when it comes to applying makeup. So they had to decide whether or not they wanted to go through with everything or if they wanted to postpone until a later date where they were able to get full services. And then moving into the red zone, we weren't able to do makeup at all. But then when you look on the photography side of it, photographers could hire makeup to do full face if it was for production. So it was a little bit frustrating. Yeah, it was frustrating as a makeup artist because I would freelance at a news station. And because the news is obviously an essential service, I was able to do full face of makeup. But then when the weekends would come around, I couldn't do makeup at all. So I understand why it was implemented that way, but that part of the makeup application, and when you go onto the Ontario website, it wasn't there for makeup artists to know about. It was only in the photographer section. So it was difficult to navigate. But my clients were really understanding. A lot of them would just email us and they were really uncertain whether they could have their makeup done or not. So we just made sure to be honest with them and to let them know if they did need to postpone, we would just keep their existing contract and just move it to the new date. No questions asked, no extra fees or anything like that. So it worked out pretty well. And it gave me a summer off, which doesn't really happen that often. So for the first time in 10 years, I had a summer that was not as busy as usual. So
Yeah.
I always try and look on the bright side of things, even though it was difficult. I took a lot away from it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting. I saw actually somebody posted in one of the photography forums that I'm in today, like she said, does anyone else feel like really crappy about, looking in their bank account and not seeing any income from their actual business?
Yeah.
And I get that. I can get why someone might feel that way, but for me, I feel like I see the CERB money that we're lucky to be able to
Yeah.
receive, and the support money that we're lucky to be able to receive, as just a way for me to like not be stressed out about life, right? Like I'm still earning, I'm still doing things for my business, I'm still creating, I'm still designing my business behind the scenes and designing the life that I want to live. So I'm not so much, worried about that side of it. You know what I mean? Like I don't take stock in that. And I think like you, like it's about finding the blessings in what we're going through. It's like, how is this happening for me? Not why is this happening to me?
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, and I think it's given us as, small businesses, um, we have to adapt and we have to change with the times. So instead of just, feeling sorry for myself and thinking, oh, I can't do hair and makeup, what am I going to do? I just have to sit here and wait until I'm allowed. It's opened up so many different avenues for me to venture into and explore during this downtime. Yeah.
That's how I feel too. Like, and I've seen other people say, my business isn't going to survive. And I'm like, again, like for me, like this is just who I am. It's not
Mhm.
about like I don't see myself ever not being a photographer. Like
Yeah.
maybe I have to pick up a part-time job or something, like another way to make income, but like I'll always do this. Like
Yeah.
I'll always do this. And as long as it serves me and as long as it makes me happy, I'll keep doing
Exactly.
it. Right?
Yeah, yeah, and just to have that openness with your clients too, like getting back to the different stages and what we were able to provide and everything. Just having transparency and being open and letting your clients know. I know there was a big debate about whether companies should give back deposits or a portion or nothing at all. And I think that just being open with your clients and the people that you are personally working with and letting them know what you are capable of and kind of painting the picture that we are people too. We are also struggling and just coming to like a mutual understanding with your clients. It was really important for me to do.
Yeah, 100%. Because I mean, like, yes, while I got CERB money, that just paid my household bill. There's like a whole other slew of
Yeah.
bills in the business. Like my business
Yeah.
costs me at least $3,000 a month to keep going, right?
Yeah.
So there is a struggle there because any money I have coming in, like I'm not paying myself right now. Like
Yeah.
that goes to just keeping the business alive, right? Um,
Yeah. And that was a big thing, like in my narrative when I was talking with my clients, just letting them know that their down payment doesn't just pay for us to show up and do hair and makeup on the day of. The down payment keeps the business running. It pays for supplies, studio rentals, my administration fees that I pay for my assistant to do the work and all that stuff. So I think once clients understand that they're not just paying for a hair and makeup service, there are other things that are factored in to that, which is why they're hiring my company because we are like a trusted name in the wedding industry. So, yeah, I just think being open and communicating with clients is the key to navigating this.
100%. When the pandemic first hit, actually, there, and you probably saw this too, there was a lot of chatter in our wedding
Mhm.
community and people saying, should we talk to our clients? And people are like, don't talk to them. You're going to freak them
Yeah.
out. I'm like, they're already freaking out. Like,
Yeah.
that very first week that we were the country shut down, I sent a newsletter out and all it said was, hey, buddy, are you okay? Like, I'm here for you. This
Yeah.
freaks me out and no, it's freaking you out. Just putting it out there. I'm here for you. We're going to work through this together. We'll develop policies together. We'll work together to make resolutions. It's going to be fine because life has to be fine.
Yeah.
Everything's going to be okay, right? And
Exactly.
you will get married and you will, be happy. So don't worry. And I think that really helped. And my clients well, I know it did because my clients were just like,
Yeah.
like, I got so much positive feedback because from then on, I was emailing them every week, even just like, I just made a little newsletter and
Nice.
maybe I had something to update them with. Maybe I didn't. But especially during those first few months when it was really chaotic and nobody knew what was going on, I just felt like it was really important to keep that line of communication open and give them
Yeah.
as much support as I could. And
Yeah.
anytime I found out information or got tips, like I would talk to Kathy Davis, the officiant from Kathy
Yeah.
Davis and Co. And she was letting us all kind of know in a little group chat about like where people were at with like actually being able to get married, right?
Yeah.
Because we knew a lot of the services weren't available. Some people were like, well, we still want to get married no matter what.
Yeah.
Officiants could still marry people, but like only so many places were open where you could get a marriage license. And like a lot of couples weren't thinking about the marriage license component. So sharing
Yeah.
stuff like that with them to like keep them in the know. I think it speaks to being able to go above and beyond for our customers and just really give them that love and support and, that they deserve.
Yeah, I totally agree. And whatever you're putting out into the universe, you are going to get back with your clients. So if you're complaining and if you're stressed and you're worried, you're going to receive an influx of worry and stress and anger and frustration from your clients. So if you're putting it out into the universe that, you know what, this is a minor setback for all of us in business or whether you're on the client side of things, but we will get through this together and just explain that you have faith that things are going to progress and move forward, and then you'll receive that back.
For sure.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah. Like, and I love my clients. Like, and actually part from it, I was able to develop some things. Like I created a Loverly Wedding community on Facebook where it's a private group just for my clients so that they can support each other, so that I can support them in a very easy way by sharing, articles or blogs or whatever, right? Or just
That's
like, again,
awesome.
hey, what's up, um, and they can ask questions to the group as well. So everyone's sharing that information. And then now creating this Loverly TV, in this YouTube blog vlog, is another way that I can support them, but it also supports me and sort of
Yeah.
helps me in sort of my goals and where I want to go in my life. So it's cool.
Yeah.
I'd
Awesome.
like to see like how take a positive or see how positive can grow from something negative. I really do believe that. I think that
Yeah.
it's hard to when you're in the thick of it and you're stressed out and you're upset to see the positive side
Yeah.
sometimes because you're so deep in it. But when you can see that tiny little bit of light and you can just kind of slowly like pull yourself to that light and it gets bigger and bigger, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I agree. And like it's important to like not to bypass those negative emotions, like sit with it, have a good cry, scream at the top of your lungs, like
Yeah.
ask the universe why this is happening. Like all that is fine and healthy to do, but it's important for us to move past that also,
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. You got to live in it. You got to feel it, all the emotions. Eat the Ben and
Amen.
Jerry's. Like,
Yes.
yeah. And I've had couples cry on my shoulder, like,
Yeah.
it's hard. And I sit with them in it and we just work through it together. And that's all you can do, you know? It hurts my heart when I hear, and some of them have had really bad experiences with some of their vendors. And it really hurts my heart to hear that, like, some vendors just haven't been able to grasp that.
Yeah.
And it's more about them and what they're losing as opposed to what we're all losing, and I think
Yeah.
when we can bring more of the community side of it, we're all in this together, that just serves everyone so much better.
Yeah. I totally agree.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. That was good.
Yay.
All right. So, I mean, like, let's leave the COVID stuff behind and, move forward as if this year's going to be amazing. Everybody's
Sounds
getting
good.
up, and they're going to have their hair and makeup done. So let's kind of give them some tips and ideas on like what they can expect. Why don't we start with, what's a reasonable cost for a skilled hair and makeup artist?
Yeah, so there are no set like base prices. So it's very similar. Like you and I were talking before we started going live into this, that there's no set price. So really you can set your prices at whatever you want. I think that when you're doing your research as a client looking into hair and makeup companies, it's important to look at how much experience they have. But not only their experience. So I used to teach a makeup program at a college in Hamilton. And I had some girls who were just starting. And in the first month, I was like, holy crap, like you have a gift for this. Like you can start working with me right now and I will pay you like a senior artist because you are so talented. So, I think that experience is important, and also just having knowledge of how the industry works, but also have a look at their portfolios. So whether it's on Instagram, Facebook, if they can email you some photos, and just make sure too that they're not overly edited. I know that right now with the whole Instagram culture and Facetune editing and all of those different apps, a lot of expectations are skewed because people will come and they'll show us pictures of images that they like, but they've been so like heavily edited. So I think that when you're looking for an artist, a common price, I have some notes because I have different prices. So for like a natural makeup, we start at around $70. So that's like your typical, very natural daytime, nothing over the top. And then it goes into like a daytime glam. So for our company, that starts at about $100 a face. And then you can go into evening glam. So cut crease, like double lashes, like heavy contouring, highlighting, chiseling, all that stuff. And that starts at 130, so $130 for that. And then going into hair, we also structure it a little bit different. So we have hair down, which starts at $60, and then you have your half up. So there's different variations for that. That's about 75. And then like for a full updo, depending, there's so many different updos that you can choose from, but that starts at around $95. So those are good price points to go off of.
That's really great to hear too, especially, and thank you so much for sharing your prices because I know sometimes
Yeah.
people are a little bit sticky about posting or sharing their pricing. but I think it's good. It's good even if your competitors see this, because I
Yeah.
think it's important for all industries to really have a good baseline of what we're charging, that's
Mhm.
reasonable and suitable to our expertise levels. Like you said, and you're a very well established beauty artist. So I think like that's good for our clients to
Mhm.
see, what the prices are. And I had no idea what they were either. So I think that's really cool. I think that's good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. And yeah, I mean, there are a lot of, I like mentoring like my past students who are trying to make their own business and start doing mobile hair and makeup. And I tell them, when you're first starting, if you've never done a wedding before, like I remember my first wedding, I was so nervous. So I'm not expecting like a new graduate to start their pricing at what I'm starting, but
No.
I always tell them like never go below $60 per service,
Yeah.
because then you're undervaluing yourself.
Yeah.
And in the industry, I know some artists who have been working for years and they're only charging about $50 a face. And obviously, if you're on a budget, you're going to go for those prices. But I'm just proof that I'm still doing over 100 weddings a year and my prices are very competitive. So you don't have to have the lowest price in order to get the amount of clientele that you want.
Well, and that I think it comes down to the value that you're giving too, right? And
Yeah.
you're getting lots of extra value too on top of that.
Mhm.
It's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. And then like we also have, just going off of prices,
Yeah.
you can, if you're a client, you can ask if there's discounts for off season. So between November and March, we give a 10% discount for hair and makeup services. If it's a small number of girls and they want to come and get their services in studio at my home studio in Niagara, that's like a discount also. If you have short hair, so sometimes moms will have like a cute little pixie cut. So there's a discount for that. So be sure to ask your artist if there are any discounts for those things too, as well as like travel fees. Sometimes if it's out of the region, there's a travel fee involved. Early start times. Sometimes companies will have an early start time fee. Parking. So if we have to park at a hotel and there's 3 artists each paying $20 a pop for their cars, those are all factored into the contract also for us.
Yep, that makes sense. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how, like, because it's not just the bride that's getting her hair and makeup done. So
Mm-hmm.
how does that work for when you have a big bridal party? Does the bride pay for everybody? Does everybody pay for themselves? What do you typically, I mean, I know it's probably like their choice,
Yeah.
but what do you typically see happen? And how do you serve that many people? If they had like a huge bridal party and like
Yeah.
make it all work. Yeah.
So because I have a larger team and we're all trained and have a very similar aesthetic. So when someone books and they get an artist, it's going to be someone I post all of the work on my Instagram. It's not just my work, it's the work of my whole team. So we're capable of doing every single different look. It doesn't matter who the artist is. And when you book your trial, you also will have the same artist that does your trial who will arrive on the wedding day. And then when it comes to timing, usually one artist, so one hairstylist can do between 6 and 8 hairs, no problem on their own. Anything more than 8 people is when we would bring in a second artist. So let's say there's 10 girls now. So I would come and bring myself plus another hairstylist, and we would each do 5 people. And then if there's hair and makeup services, I myself can do hair and makeup, but a lot of my artists are either just hair or just makeup. So depending on the number of people in your party, that's always something that we discuss beforehand. And then what I always suggest is for the client to talk to their photographer. So let's say you are the photographer of the day and you're doing a first look at 1 o'clock. I always suggest talking with your photographer and finding out, hey, Krista, what time should my makeup be done for photos, so that I can tell my makeup artist when to start wrapping up. That way, when you arrive, you can take some, getting ready images and stuff like that. But essentially, everybody's beauty services are already done.
Yeah. Okay. I want to get your thoughts on that because,
Yeah.
and I work with a lot of my clients to do that. They'll ask me, even well in advance, because they're like, we need to book the timing for our makeup artist. So can we do our day of timeline now? And I'm like, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Because I always do a timeline consultation with my clients.
Okay.
I'm totally down doing that early on. And I usually like to have because sometimes I'll show up and the bride's completely done. And I'm like, I can't even get any of those final touch shots, right? Obviously, right from the get-go when you start slathering on the makeup, I don't need to get those
Yeah.
touches. They're not really that flattering. And it really is nice to have those final touches. So I guess like what time, or like do you do the bride first? Do you do the schedule the bride last as a makeup artist? Like how does that usually?
So this has been just kind of like a process for me over the years of trial and error. I tried doing bride first. I've tried putting her at the very end. What happens when a bride goes at the very end is that she just feels a whole lot of pressure,
Yeah.
and a sense of urgency. Even if we're right on time and there's lots of time to go, and she doesn't have to worry about timing and the schedule because everyone else is already done and she's the last one waiting. I don't like creating that sense of urgency within the bride. So I usually, let's say there's 8 people, which is our average. I'll do 4 or 5 people. I'll do her somewhere in the middle towards the end. I also like doing moms and aunts or grandmas right at the beginning, because they don't usually take as long, and then they also have other things that they have to accomplish that morning, so that way they can get beautified and just be on their way. And then I can start working on the bridesmaids, and then the bride goes towards the end, but not the very last.
That's awesome. Yeah, because I've had that where like the bride was very last, but then we were kind of held up because maybe like some of the bridesmaids that all got done before her, maybe they had needed changes or they took a
Yeah.
little longer, and now we're waiting on the bride, and now everyone's feeling rushed, and now we have no time, and we're like running out the door.
Yeah.
So it is a fine, you really have to fine tune
Yeah.
or just be able to be fluid and flow with whatever happens in that morning.
Exactly.
Um,
And it will never go. I always tell brides, some will send me like an Excel spreadsheet of like names, exact time, and those
and like
it never works.
like
It's
8:07, we're
Yeah,
starting
yeah.
this like
And I get it. Like I'm not a type A, but I have a lot of friends who are, so I understand that it helps kind of ease the whole process knowing who's going when. But then on the morning of, um like too, it's never like a perfect flow of timing, especially when it comes to getting ready. And if you're in a hotel, sometimes I'll arrive and the person who was supposed to go at 8 isn't there yet, but the person for 9 is there, and they're like, no, I can't go yet, I'm not until 9. And I'm like, no, you're here, get in the chair, let's go. So I think
yeah, where you gotta be.
being flexible and fluid, like you said, and just kind of going with the flow. As if you're there and there's an empty chair, come have a seat, we can do touch-ups later, it's okay. A lot of people don't like going first because they think it's not going to last later on, but it will. I always tell people, you actually want to go first because then you can just chill for a few hours, and then if we need to do a little touch-up later, you're already done and it's cool, right?
So good. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
100%. I love it. Okay, so what's the largest bridal party you've ever done?
21. Yeah. So it was a same-sex wedding, and they each had moms, aunts, and their own bridal party. So it was all women. They didn't have any men in the wedding party. So I think we brought 7 artists that day.
Were you all
It was a
or is it 2 separate locations happening for you?
no, I think it was the same location, if I can remember. It was a few years ago, but yeah, it was intense, and it was like
Oh my gosh.
I think we were only 10 minutes behind, which wasn't really a big deal.
Yeah.
And it was just because of a whole bunch of different factors. But yeah, our average is about 8 people though.
That's awesome. What are like the biggest holdups for you guys?
Hold ups, like what do you mean? Like as far
Like,
as like day of, or
yeah, like if things get delayed, like what is it usually the cause of? Like
if things
because
get
someone isn't
delayed,
there or
so it's usually because someone's eyes are watering. So people who have sensitive skin, or if they have any type of allergy, we do have specific products to use. But sometimes people don't realize that they have certain allergies or sensitivities to products. So when we're working on someone's eyes, especially if they've never had their makeup done before, it's just natural for your body to react to having somebody in your face. So eyes start watering, and then when it comes to putting on the false eyelashes, the eyelash glue will not stick to wet eyes, right? So we have to take extra time to make sure that everything is dry, give them a break. Sometimes too, when I don't want to sound like I'm like complaining, but sometimes there's like a big production company, like photographers, videographers, like a whole team of people, and they want to create like a really cinematic feel to the whole morning. So it's almost like they're directing us, like, okay, stop this. Okay, take a step back. Okay, come and do this. And I'm like, but I'm on a time restraint. Like, I have to get this done.
Let me do
Otherwise, we're
my
going to fall
job.
behind. So in those situations, I always like recommend talking with the production team and the videographer and just letting us know, like, we might need to schedule a bit of extra time because there's going to be some placement and acting involved. So
That's a great point.
yeah.
That's funny. The eye watering thing totally happened to me. I've only ever been in one wedding, which was actually, well, no, that's not true. I was kind of in an elopement, but I was only in one big wedding, and I was the maid of honor. And like, yeah, we couldn't like she was trying to put the falsies on me, and like just I had to reglue them like several times.
Yeah.
That's why I like lash extensions, which I'm missing right now because of COVID.
See, I can't deal with those. I had them once and I'm very low maintenance. So I like to like scrub my face and like sleep
Yeah.
on my face. And so,
I can
yeah, I just
feel
pop
that.
some falsies on.
Yeah, I suffer from allergies really bad, so I actually had to take a break for a good chunk of last year. But the first time I actually got lash extensions was just before my wedding, and
Nice.
I ended up keeping them for like 5 years.
Amazing.
I just kept
That's
getting
awesome.
filled. And because I just fell in love with the ease of them and just being able to like not have to do that, worry about that makeup.
Yeah.
And I'm really bad at putting on false lashes myself, and I have really like I don't think I just love full big lashes, and I don't have that naturally. So, but do you find a lot of brides do get the false lashes? Because I know that's a thing right now too, where like a lot of couples are like, or brides are like, do I do the falsies, or do I get the lash extensions before the wedding?
Yeah, I always say if they're going on a honeymoon and it's something that they want to wear on their honeymoon so they don't have to worry about wearing makeup, by all means, like, go and get your extensions, because it's at the end of the day, this is your face. Whatever you prefer, that's fine. But if they're giving me the option to choose for them, I always say strip lashes.
It's
Because
easy for you to do the makeup, isn't it?
yeah, and it's just better with eyeshadow. No matter how amazing the product is, you always get some fallout. So when you have the extensions already there and you're doing your eyeshadow, you're always going to get a little bit of powder on the top.
Yeah.
So then there's a whole process of cleaning that off and brushing them out, which is a little bit time consuming. So I do like the variety of the strip lashes. So that is my preference.
Yeah, I could totally see that, because when I have my falsies in, or my lash extensions, sorry, in, I don't usually wear eyeshadow.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it's just like, and it just gets, and I don't do a top line either because it just gets too messy and it's too
Yeah.
hard to navigate.
Yeah.
So that's why I actually kind of I do enjoy not having them on right now, because I can experiment with a little bit of shadow and just kind of my eye makeup a little bit more.
And your makeup always looks good. So
Yes, thanks.
yeah.
It's amazing to hear from you. It's like you basically just called me a model.
Pretty much.
Love it.
It's page approved.
Hey. Okay, I had a couple other. What is a good start time for hair and makeup on a typical bridal day? So, like, say, like a typical wedding party is like 4 to 6 people. What's like a good start time?
A good start time. So again, when it comes to start and finish, we always work backwards. So we establish the finish time first, and then we'll go backwards. So I always
How long
suggest.
do you spend?
So that
That
will depend on the look that they choose, but usually it's about, I would say on average, about 40 minutes per face, half an hour if it's more natural. We are quicker than a lot of other artists. Some artists will take a full hour to do a natural face. We usually reserve an hour if it's something more on the dramatic side. So for myself, I always give myself an hour and a half to 2 hours to do the bride's hair and makeup together. Okay. But yeah, as far as timing goes, let's say it's a party of 6 and they want to be finished by 12. I'll usually count back about 4 hours. We can get 6 people done with 2 artists in about 4 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then I always suggest to make sure hair and makeup is done an hour before you have to be at your venue, just in case you want to take some photos beforehand or it takes time getting your dress on. Some people think, okay, I have to be out the door at 12:30, and they tell us that their hair and makeup has to be done at 12:30, and then they feel so rushed afterwards.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I agree. What are some current bridal beauty trends that you're seeing this year and from last year?
I'm finding a lot of like more natural. So like the whole boho, like down hair, not really spiral curls, but more of like a loose wave or like a beachy wave. Adding extensions to get that extra bulk if you want to wear your hair down. Um, Baby's breath in the hair is really nice. I'm seeing more of that instead of like the big floral crowns. It's more minimal,
Yeah.
and just um, more organic, I guess. So real flowers. I'm always a fan of real flowers in the hair too. When it comes to makeup, just like nice, soft, dewy skin. So a little bit of highlight, some contour. Instead of doing like a full eye where there's like 3 or 4 different colors, usually a lot of my clients like just maybe 1 or 2 colors swept over the eyelid. Always lashes. I always suggest getting lashes, even if they're just very natural, because it makes a huge difference in photos. It just opens up the eye a little bit more. And then with the lips, I don't think there's really like a trend. Some people really like a nude lip, and then some people like a nice bold red lip. So I think that's just a preference thing for each client. But I'm seeing more natural as opposed to, really dark and dramatic on the eyes.
So let's talk about products. Like, what are
Mhm.
the what products do you use and do you love and support? And what are like some key things? Like, because obviously, like they might have to do some touch-ups. I know sometimes when we're taking pictures, the
Yeah.
lipstick starts to come off a little bit, even if they have a stay put.
Yeah.
They do fade throughout the day. So, what should they have in their sort of little kit for the day that they take with them?
Yeah, so usually the makeup that we use, I use it's all cruelty free, a lot of vegan options. So when it comes to like the base, so your primer, your foundation, concealer, bronzer, that kind of thing, I use Arbonne. So it's a vegan company. I sell the product. I usually give 20% off to my clients. And I'm not one of those like sales reps for a multi-marketing company. It's just a
I have
product that
no idea.
I really, really love, and I used it on myself. And in the 15 years that I've been doing makeup, their foundation is like by far the best foundation. I put it on in the morning and I can leave it on all night long and it does not budge. Um, so it's awesome stuff. And then when it comes to eyes, there's a company called Inglot, Inglot. So they have a flagship store in Toronto, and their palettes are all customizable. So you can go in and you can choose any colors you want and create your own palette. So it's a lot of fun, yeah. And then Cheekbone Beauty. So I know I got you hooked on the liquid lipsticks. So I have, yeah, there's
Love
like
it.
a bunch right here that I have.
Oh yeah.
So, and my brides always get their lip product. So whatever I put on their lips, I give them that lip product for the day,
Oh,
because that is the only thing that will come off over time. So
yeah.
they'll get a full lip product they can do their touch-ups with throughout the day. If they have really oily skin, I suggest that they maybe put in their purse like a blotting powder, blotting papers, setting spray,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Yeah. But
What
other than that, they don't really need to pack anything else. Everything else stays put.
What is your favorite scent? Like, because I find it blows my mind. Like when a good hair make, because I have struggled my whole life, I feel. Where I've tried all the setting sprays, I've tried the powders, and like I go and I work a wedding, and I'm like, at the end of the day, I look like I got beat and run over and like spun around in a dryer. Like
Oh
my
my
makeup
God.
is like melted off my face, and like one eyebrow's gone, and like it doesn't matter how much I set it. Like, my
So for you, do you have like oily skin, or what kind of skin do
I
you
have
have?
combination skin.
Combination. Okay, so like the oily T-zone
Yeah.
area normally. So there's a product from Arbonne, and it's a loose powder,
Yep.
but it's called Setting Pretty.
Okay.
It is the best setting powder you will ever use. They were out of stock for months, and my whole team was like going crazy. When is this going to be back in stock? I need this. So that is a really good setting powder. And then the Inglot setting spray is amazing.
Yes, I have that. It's black
Yes.
and purple, right? I think that's the one I have.
No, that's Urban Decay.
Oh, okay.
Yes. So Inglot, you can order it online or you can go to Toronto if you want, but that is the best
Okay.
setting spray ever.
Send me the link. I'm going to put it in the description here in the
Okay, cool.
so that
Cool.
other people I'm sure could
Mhm.
like that too. I'm excited to try it this wedding season.
Yeah, and then it's a really great company. I worked for them as soon as I graduated, at one of their Toronto stores.
Yeah.
So I've been using their products for 15 years, and I like it because they offer pro makeup artists a discount on their products. So that's really helpful when you're building a kit.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. So
Yeah.
send me that and we'll talk offline about the Arbonne.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Okay, so what are some important questions that clients searching for a hair and makeup artist should be asking while they're interviewing?
Yeah. Okay. So I sent you our information package earlier today. So I found that instead of going back and forth over email or text message or booking multiple phone calls, we put together an information package for our clients. I think it's about 6 or 7 pages, and it includes every single piece of information that a bride or a couple would typically ask their hair and makeup team. So everything between the price of hair, makeup, what those would cost together individually, the price of a trial. So these are all things that typically brides would ask us. So it's also included in this package. So after the pricing, we have, what's next. So the steps that you need to take in order to book your wedding with us. So how we collect the down payment, how much the down payment has to be, filling out the contract and sending that back to us, scheduling a trial, how far in advance you should do that, as well as a full page kind of letting the client know what they need to do to prepare their skin and their hair for the trial. And that can also be carried over for the wedding day. So arrive with day old dry hair is the key,
Yeah.
have your moisturizer already on so it has time to be absorbed. Don't arrive with makeup on if it's possible. We do have products to remove makeup if you're coming from work and having your trial done. But those are some questions too. Other ones, like I mentioned before, is there an off-season rate? Do you come to us? Is there a minimum number of people that we need to book in order for you to come to us? We don't have a minimum. I know some companies do have a minimum. We don't. If I'm available and it's bride only, that's totally fine with me. Unless it's in Toronto, I typically will say no to clients if it's just one person in Toronto, but we can make it work too.
Yeah.
And I have girls who live in Hamilton and Simcoe, and they're willing to travel also. Um, yeah, I think that's pretty much all the most common questions we get. Um,
What's
yeah.
a good way, like if I'm coming to you and I find I have a hard time, like even when I go to the hairdresser to get my hair cut, I have a hard time really articulating what I want. Like I'll say one thing, but then the picture I show her, she's like, but that's not how you're explaining it at all. Like, so what do you recommend? Is it just bring pictures and show them your artist what you want?
Yeah, pictures are always helpful. Um, I know that sometimes, a client will have different features and they'll bring in a photo of someone that has maybe different skin color, different features, different size eyes or shape eyes, same with lips and, cheek, bone structure.
Yeah.
So I think it's always important to be open and honest with your artist. And then as an artist, for us to be open and honest with our client. So if they come in and they have very fine hair and they're looking for this, big, full updo, we as an artist, we have to be honest with them and let them know that we won't be able to achieve something exactly like this, although we will try to achieve something similar. We might have to take a different road and maybe invest in some extensions for the hair or try like a variation of that style. But pictures are always helpful. Also, if you're not really good at articulating what you want, tell us what you don't want. So if you know that you don't like a smoky eye, if you know that you don't like your hair tight and low, let us know all of those things, because then we can do like a process of elimination and then come to a conclusion on what you might be looking for.
I was laughing and smirking when you were saying that because my husband, when he goes to get his haircut, he always asks for my input. He's like, "What should I do with my hair?" And we had watched a movie, and I think it was Chris Hemsworth was in it, and he had this really cool
Like that.
swoop. And I was like texting him pictures. I'm like, "Just give that to your hair
Yeah.
stylist." And it's like, yeah, you didn't come home and look like Chris Pratt or Hemsworth. What's happening here?
Yeah.
I'm not going to look like Chris Hemsworth at the end of this, right?
Yeah. Just to be flexible with your expectations sometimes, because we want to create the perfect look for you, but sometimes it's out of our hands. We're not capable of doing it. So, but
Yeah,
we'll always make something that you're happy with. That's the goal for us.
absolutely. And that's why like doing the trial is so important. Like
Yeah.
I said in my last video with Brittany, and I've mentioned to you before, like I didn't do a trial because I cheaped out and I did trade, and she said we don't need a trial, and I said okay, that's fine. And I didn't even have a picture. I told her I wanted a smoky eye, but I was having a morning ceremony with a light lunch. but like the smoky, I think she did more like full nighttime glam smoky eye, and it was
Yeah.
just too heavy and too cakey. And I
Yeah.
was like, this isn't how I saw myself, and I ended up washing it off.
Uh,
I learned from you is the wrong thing to do, and I should have told her there in the moment,
yeah.
you know, I'm not happy. And I did actually end up calling her afterwards and I told her. So, you know, and we are fine. She was fine about it.
Yeah.
She
Awesome.
handled it way better than I thought she would. And I think that's the whole thing, right? Is understanding that your hair and makeup artist can take it if you're not happy
Yeah.
with what they do. And it's better to tell them so that they can fix it.
Yeah. 100%. And like also like the language that we use as artists. So a traditional smoky eye is black eyeshadow on your whole eyelid. So you didn't want a smoky eye. You thought you wanted a smoky eye, but that's not what it was called, right? So
Yeah.
just having those like crossed wires. So as an artist, I always tell the girls that freelance for me, also when it comes to makeup, especially if a client comes in and they show a picture of something that is very dramatic and they normally don't wear a lot of makeup, always start off in like the early stages of like what dramatic would be, because chances are when you show them that look, they're going to be like, oh, this is perfect. Meanwhile, it's way more natural than what the picture is. So if you go full force and create something very dramatic right out of the gate, chances are they're going to be very overwhelmed with it. So always start natural, because then we can build on it from there.
So smart.
Yeah, thanks.
Okay, so I think we've gotten all the makeup stuff and the hair stuff out.
Yeah,
I think we've covered like a lot. That was really good.
awesome.
Way better than our interview yesterday.
Yay.
I think the clients are really going to enjoy that. So that's good. So I want to talk about you a little bit because
Okay.
I think you're amazing. And when I first like checked out your website, I was thrown back by like all the things. Like, holy crap, she offers a lot of stuff. But I love that. And one of the things that you have, so you do boudoir and you're a photographer
Mhm.
as well, which I had no idea until I checked out your website. I didn't know you did boudoir, and you and I have talked because I do want to come
Yeah.
in. I personally don't offer boudoir, and there's no rhyme or reason other than it's just not my thing.
Yeah.
But I would love to have the pictures done because I see the value in it, and it's a talent in its own. It's just like newborn photography. I don't do newborn photography because
Yeah.
that's a whole other skill set to be able to do newborns.
Yeah.
Um, and it just doesn't excite me like weddings and family and corporate does, right? So yeah, so let's talk about your boudoir because I think it's a really cool thing that you do, especially for women and people with body image issues. I love that you work with people of all shapes and sizes and you post women of all shapes and sizes, and it makes
Yeah.
me feel like I can be comfortable enough because I do have my own body issues, that I can be comfortable enough to come and do this with you. So tell me a little bit more about it. Tell me.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so I've always been plus size myself, but I've always had a lot of self confidence. So I've never really had any issues, comparing myself to, my thinner friends or my more athletic or fit friends. I've always known that I'm uniquely beautiful in my own way. So when it comes to boudoir, I'm self taught in photography, and it was one of the first things that I navigated and was just naturally kind of attracted to, because it not only produces some beautiful images of people of all different sizes. I've done male, I've done female, I've done couples. So I do, it's an intimate setting. It takes a lot of, trust in your photographer. And there's a lot of vulnerability involved, but I think that's also like, it helps you become a stronger person and kind of step into that power and that sensuality that we all have. So when I first started, I just asked a bunch of my friends, all different ages and sizes, if they would want to be models for me. In return, they would get some beautiful images for themselves. And then I would be able to take those images and show them online to start getting actual paid clients. So it just kind of took off from there. So I still kind of consider it like my side business, because it's not something I do full time. But I also don't know if I want to do it full time. I think that it's very special when I get those few people that reach out to me, who are looking for an experience, and that they trust me to provide that for them. So it's not only about, feeling hot and sexy in your body. It's kind of how it transforms you throughout the whole process of the photo shoot, and what they get, before they even receive the photos, how it makes them feel in the moment.
100%. And
Yeah.
you can tell that through the images that you post. Like I because I I mean, I see a lot of there's different types of boudoir.
Yes. Yes, there is.
Um, and some of it, in my opinion, is cheap and tacky and more degrading than
Yeah.
it needs to be.
Mhm.
Um, I those that type of I don't agree with.
Mhm.
But that's my personal opinion. Some people
Yeah.
love it. It's their thing.
Yeah.
Fine, no problem.
Mhm.
I appreciate more what you do because it is more of an art.
Yeah.
Your photos they come across as safe. If that
Oh,
means
I love
yeah,
that. Thank you.
I feel safe when I look at your photos,
Okay.
and I feel inspired, and I feel sexy, and I feel like that there's confidence and creativity in them.
Thank
There's just
you.
there's so much beauty in what you produce in these boudoir, and it really is. It's more than just, making kinky photos. It
Yeah.
really is about and I don't want to like obviously I would do it and give my husband a little gift out of it, but it's
Yeah.
really I want to do it for me. And that's it. Like I want to go and have that whatever you're putting in the magic sauce for the photos. Like I want that, and
Yeah.
I want to feel that. How do you prep your clients for the experience? Because I imagine you have to do a little bit of prep work with them.
A little bit, not too much. A lot of them are very nervous, and I'll just touch on what you were just saying about how it's, you would want to gift it to your husband or your partner, and a lot of my clients, that is the whole purpose of the session, is to have an album or some prints made for their partner to give. But when they walk away from the experience, they always, like, more times than not, they're telling me that it was more of a gift for themselves that they weren't even expecting, which I love hearing because that's the whole reason why I got into it in the first place. So the only thing I do to prep my clients is kind of give them like a step by step on how the appointment is going to go. Um, I give them a list of things that they can bring. Less is more. So instead of bringing your whole wardrobe and having us spend an hour decide what they're going to wear, just pick out 3 or 4 outfits that they feel really beautiful in. If they want to go shopping and treat themselves, that's cool too. Accessories, all that kind of thing. And then I send out a questionnaire. So I kind of want to get to know them a little bit, what kind of music they listen to, what is their favorite feature, what's the best feature or personality trait that your partner finds in you. It's just stuff like that, like little tidbits, areas that they want me to focus on, areas that they feel self-conscious about. Because even though I'm celebrating the beautiful forms that we all have, I know that there are certain areas that people will feel a little bit self-conscious on. So if someone is uncomfortable with their tummy being exposed or their legs or their bum or whatever it is, I always want to be mindful of that and capture those parts of their body in a way that they will appreciate when they're looking at the photos.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Can't wait. I'm so excited to do that with you when
I'm
life
excited for it.
opens back up and we can get
Yeah.
together. Um,
Yay.
and then we'll have drinks after.
Yeah. For sure.
It'll be fun. Okay, so why don't we talk about the She Be Okay project, because that's another thing that you do and
Yeah.
is so amazing and that you've created. So tell us about that.
Yeah. So I'm pretty open with my background, but I know that obviously there are going to be a lot of viewers who don't really know who I am. I was in an abusive relationship for 4 years, and it was with the father of my son. My son is now going to be 12, actually, in March. So when I was in that relationship, I felt pieces of myself just falling off of me. And at the end of it, when I finally had the courage to leave that relationship, I felt completely lost, almost like I was living inside of like a shell of who I used to be. And I wasn't so far gone that I didn't believe that I could get that back. So, what I did for myself in order to start that healing process was that I turned to things that I used to really love doing that were also forms of self care. Right. So I turned to my yoga practice again. I started going to women's circles with a group of spiritual friends that I have, just talking and confiding in my friends and trusting that they weren't going to judge me because that was a huge fear that I had, obviously. And just having those feelings of being alone and knowing that in order for me to progress and turn back into the person that I was meant to be, I had to let those people that I care about back into my life. But self-care was really a key factor. So with the She Be Okay project, I decided that I wanted to bring together a directory of local Niagara-based businesses that could offer free services to women who are starting their healing journey, whether they're being bullied, if they're in high school or grade school, and they're having issues with, body image or bullying from outside factors, or if they're in an abusive relationship or marriage and they're at a point where they want to leave that and start their own healing journey. So we offered photography services, there's massage therapists, hair and makeup, nails. There's a meditation coach, like naturopath. So anybody that can offer a product or a service to a woman or a girl who's going through a difficult time, that's what the She Be Okay project is all about.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thank you.
I would love to participate in that.
I
So
would love that.
yeah, we can talk offline and see how I can
Awesome.
be part of that with you. I think that's beautiful and so necessary, and such a great way again to take something from a really dark, crappy situation and
Mhm.
turn it into something beautiful. And it can be related to, even like a forest fire, right? Like there's
Yeah,
always beautiful growth after a forest fire.
always.
So that's great. Thank you for doing that,
Thank you.
for being an advocate for women who are going through such a dark and terrible time, and especially right now. I think during COVID, as we talked about before, like it to be stuck in a house, like I really feel for a lot of women right now, because there are lots out there,
Yeah,
that's reality, that are in abusive households right now,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
are stuck.
right now they're in a prison essentially. It's like right now they're not thinking about going and doing things that are going to make them feel good. They're literally, it's like a fight or flight mode, and right now they're hiding for their safety. They're just complying with their abuser because they don't want to get hurt, because they don't have anywhere else to go right now. So it is a really difficult time, especially during a lockdown where there is really no place to go. A lot of shelters are full right now. So what we want to do as soon as we are able to work again is to get the She Be Okay name out there to all of the different shelters and schools and places where these women might go, to find, outside help and other sources. And hopefully we can provide some services to help them.
And we're gonna post the links for that too, in
Awesome.
the
Thank you.
description, and any information, just make sure I get it, and we'll post that.
Well,
If people have a service they want to contribute to the program, and or they need your help, or they want to participate, is there a way like that they can do it, sort of, without,
like discreetly.
yeah, discreetly, or without having to really give their full story? Like, how do you mitigate that,
Yeah,
right?
so it's all based on trust. I know that people who are, so myself, it took a long time to get to where I am right now. So I like to think that I can trust people who are reaching out to us for a service. I don't need to hear your whole story. I don't want to pick those scabs and put you back in a place that you just came from. So if you just let me know that you are an abuse survivor, you're going through a difficult time right now, but you really think that one of these services could help you on your healing journey, no questions asked. We will totally hook you up with a service provider or a company that wants to help. That's what we're there for. But they can go right onto the website, or even just slide into my DMs on Instagram and just give me a message there. And then we'll make it work.
Wonderful. That's so great.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to talk about, we're just going to touch on a little bit because it's pretty special, and I'm super excited about it. Yesterday when we did this first interview, so Paige does something called human design, and she had offered to do a bit of a reading with me yesterday. And when she did it, it like blew my whole life up, like in a good way, like in a really, really good way. So much so, like I've been down a rabbit hole with it for the last 24 hours, and it's changing my life in so many good ways, and so many positive things are coming out of it. So Paige, why don't you just give a little bit, because just tell them a little bit about it in this video, what it is and how you came to be involved in human design and where you're at with your journey with it. But I want everyone to know that we're actually going to do a whole separate video. Paige is going to do a full reading with me. I'm so excited.
I'm excited too.
It's its own entity, and we felt like it'd be really important to just have its own video as opposed to bringing it into this one. So Paige, why don't you go ahead, tell them about human design?
Okay. Okay. So I always start off by explaining to people who have never heard of it before. It's a lot of people think it's woo woo because it does incorporate some pieces of astrology, but there's a scientific aspect to it too. But essentially, what it is like a blueprint or a map to you and your body and your conscious, some conscious side, subconscious side as a whole. So it works based on the I Ching, the chakra system, quantum mechanics. It kind of takes all of these different things and puts them into one system. It's not a belief system. It's not a religion. You can be spiritual, you can be non-spiritual, you can be religious or not. It won't interfere with any of those belief systems, which I think is really important to touch on, so it doesn't scare people away. But it's almost like an instruction manual. And I kind of gave this example yesterday in the other video. Let's say you are an IKEA bookshelf that is not assembled yet. You know, you could assemble this without the instructions. It's simple enough to navigate. You might, make some mistakes along the way, but when you are presented the instruction manual and a way to navigate through life and make decisions based on your unique design, it just makes things so much easier. It just flows so much better for you. You can listen to the certain areas of your body that will help you make proper decisions. It can help in business, relationships. But at the end of it all boils down to having love and understanding for yourself, as well as understanding and acceptance for others around you. So I know that we were talking earlier today and you were like, I wish that everybody knew each other's human design types, because then it would just make things so much easier for everybody. And it's so true. And I think that slowly we are getting to that point, because it is on a steady increase with awareness, especially online right now. There's a lot of people doing human design. So I'm excited that you're excited about it.
I'm blown up about it, and I'm vibrating about it, because it's just like everything she said. And it's not like, I want people to know, it's like, okay, like Enneagrams.
Yes.
That's like the thing, right? In business,
yeah.
like everybody in business has got an Enneagram, and I'm a 375, like,
yeah.
Whatever that means. So it's like Enneagram in the sense that it's telling you who you are and what kind of person you are.
Yes. So can I pause for 1 second?
Yeah.
Because I just want to touch on this before you go on to something else. With those types of tests, you're choosing the answers based on your conscious, right? So you're choosing the answers based on what you think you are, which is valid, and that's usually they are very accurate. But when it comes to human design, you're not the one choosing the answers. We're looking at your conscious plus the subconscious. So I'm telling clients things about themselves that like they don't even know, but outsiders know about them, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So when she was giving me this reading, the whole time I was just like, and then I went and I started doing my own reading and everything. I'm laughing. My husband's like, what is going on? I'm like, I am just laughing reading all these articles, because everything in them was things I've actually, like, the exact words I've used to describe myself, how I feel, like my life. If you want to know who I am, like, you're going to get it in this next video. Like, please watch this video, because I want you to understand the type of person that I am and where I come from. Like, I feel like I've been seen for the first time in a very real way. And it's like, it's emotional for me, because it just like, it validates all the things that I knew about myself. It has changed the way I'm looking at the way I look at myself now, because there are certain things that were laid out to me that I thought, or because society has taught me, were bad.
Yeah.
Now I'm realizing, no, like, that's good, and it's me, and I'm doing myself a disservice by ignoring those like innate needs.
Yeah, it's your hardwiring. It's how you are wired.
Yeah. So like, and we're gonna get into it. I'm so floored about it. I'm so excited about it. I feel like if you've not, do me the favor and just at least look into human design. Don't just like dismiss it as woo-woo, because it can be so helpful and life-changing and transformative. And also, but Paige, just for fair and truth reality, as Paige mentioned to me, like, it can also be hard for some people. And why don't you talk a little bit about why getting your reading, it's maybe not always rainbows like it is for me, and it's positive impact, because like you said, I'm already kind of living my my
Yes.
true design.
Yeah, so you're like the grade A student. I, doing all of this work and working on your chart, and I'm like, oh, she's already doing this. Oh, she's already doing this. I'm like, this is perfect. She's gonna be, and that gives you a sense of validation to know that you are on the right track and to keep going and that amazing things. And just your life is a perfect reflection of that. You have this amazing company. You have a beautiful home and a partner that you love and all of these things. It's because you are living your truth and you are being authentically you. So that's why the world is, the universe is giving you all of these things. So an example for myself. So I found out that I was a projector, which is a different type than what you are. And so when it comes to projectors, we cannot initiate. We are not manifestors. We can't create whatever we want in life. We have to wait for an invitation. And that was very difficult for me to accept. I was like, what do you mean I have to sit and wait? Like, I don't want to wait for other people to ask me. I want to go and do it myself.
Yeah.
So, but then when I look back at my life, all of the things that brought me true satisfaction and success and fulfillment, it was all because someone else invited me into that opportunity. So with you inviting me to do this chat with you, I didn't approach you and ask you to be a guest on this. You approached me and asked me. So that was being recognized as a projector. And now I'm able to share all of this information with people. So it just goes to show that it might be difficult to accept at first. There isn't a human design type that is better than the other one. It's not like that at all. But once you start living your design and following all of the things that are a part of you instead of resisting those and trying to act the way that society has conditioned you to, your world just opens up. And like you said, it's mind blowing and it's just validating and it feels really good in the soul,
Yeah. Actually, something really great for couples to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're getting married and like, because I'm going to do one with my husband. And actually, Paige, we were talking before, like she's going to do her reading with me and we're going to do that right after we record this video. But Chris is going to get his reading done. And I think it would be really cool if we recorded that one too.
Yeah.
Both of us, when you do the couples experience, because you can actually overlap both of our designs to see how we actually work together. And
Yes.
then maybe we can find places where we struggle
Yeah.
to understand each other better and then tweak and do better, right? So
Yeah.
I think for couples getting married, what a great opportunity for you
Yeah.
to really like strengthen your bond together by learning about each other and your core design.
Yeah, exactly. And then like when you do the couples, it can be with any relationship. So it can be with your romantic partner, it can be with a best friend, a business partner, in the workplace. If you were a part of a company and everybody knew everyone else's human design, you would be able to assign that person with a job or a task that they would flourish in, instead of assigning a projector to these long 50-hour work weeks when we're not supposed to work that long, and then they feel drained and unproductive. So it's just very helpful in every aspect of your life. And it helps you understand other people and just accept them for who they are.
Yeah. I was listening to, when I say I went down the rabbit hole of this, I went down the rabbit hole. Like
I believe it.
I need everything on this, a podcast, books, like hashtagging, like I'm on following all the hashtags my type. I'm not going to say my type. I don't know. Did we say my type already? Did I already
Don't think so. Okay. I don't think so.
I'm not going to say my type on here because I want you guys to go watch the video. So if you want to find out who I am, you have to watch the other video that we do. But my type, in one of the podcasts I was listening to today, they said, again, so freaking crazy, because I keep saying like, I'm living my perfect life right now because I worked that government day job 9 to 5 in a cubicle for so many years because I thought that's what I should be doing, because I was told I should get a government job, because I was told I need stability. But I tried to make it work. Like I used my abilities to like flourish in that environment, but I was never truly happy. I never felt like I belonged. I always felt out of place a little bit. And working now from home and being able to do my daily life, and this is what they said in the video, like the type of person that I am, I don't need to be, I can't be in a box. Like I can't say like, okay, I'm going to do this every morning and this in the afternoon and this is going to happen at 6 o'clock. I actually like coordinating and timeline management, but I can never live by it because I live much more happily and comfortably when I can just kind of get up at my own pace, do what I'm doing, like have my meetings scheduled throughout the day. But like, maybe today I decide I'm just going to do self-care today. That's cool. I'm just going to do tired. I don't need to work today. I have nothing pressing. I'm just gonna go for a run. I'm gonna read a book. I'm gonna do self-care. And being able to have that flexibility and freedom of being my own boss and doing my own career and just working on my own timelines. If I decide I'm going to watch TV all day, but then tonight I'm going to, work, I'm going to edit all night because I'm a night owl or whatever. Right.
Yeah.
So just like those little things, they're just like, holy crap, that is so true. And, it's like, one of the things I read was like, should be in bed by 10:30. I've said that before. I need to be in bed by 10:30 or I'm up all night.
Yeah.
Up all night because I'll get a second wind. And that's what they said. Just, oh my God.
Like, when I do your reading with you and do the video, I'll touch on your sleeping a little bit.
Yeah. Okay. This is so good. It's so good, you guys. Okay. That's all I'm going to give you guys for now.
Yes.
So we're going to end it there. But thank you guys for watching. If you would like to subscribe and follow this channel, that would be amazing. So hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, share this video as much as possible. I really want to try to get the message out that we have this channel and that we can serve couples out there who are planning a wedding right now. So please, please, please share this with as many people as you can. Share it on your news feeds, your social media, emails, whatever. Get it out there for everyone to see, and so we can keep making content for you that's valuable. Paige, this was amazing.
Thank you.
I actually, again, I'm so happy that yesterday's video crapped out because I think this was like a way better video.
It was so perfect. I'm very happy. I was like, oh no, we're never going to be able to get that like natural back and forth like we did, but here we are. So it worked out.
It was so good. And like I said, I think because of what you unlocked for me yesterday with the design, I came up with all these better questions too for
awesome.
people to put myself more in the headspace of a client coming through looking for bridal makeup. So and hair. So that was really cool. I'm really glad we did this.
Thank you.
Thank you again for being open to doing it again with me.
Of course.
And I will we'll see you in the next video. Thank you everyone again for watching. This is Loverly TV. Have a lovely day.
Bye.